I was going to say good morning then, but it's afternoon. Guess I lost some hours. Went to run around this morning. An early hours this morning. I was awake with a mum who was not in the best. Well, no, sorry, not a mum, a partner. Who was far from in the best place possible. And there's times when this really puts the lumps in your throat. When you're doing this, when you're going through all this, and there's time when it is just sheer and pure heartbreak. It really is. I started with a ping on my phone this morning. I was asleep, and early hours this morning, ping, I ended up phoning up in a bad way. It's just unbelievable. I want people to share this. It's been far too many now. We have seen many parents that have been lost along the way with this. There are numerous other ones that we probably don't know of. There's some in some way, shape or form, this has driven them to suicide, taking their lives. Early hours this morning, I had a distraught partner and I just couldn't feel like she could live anymore because of what's happened with her. So not only did we have a partner that was gone, was fighting for his children, 4 children left behind, we also had a partner that I had to speak to and talk to, and I had to realise like that, her life has got to go on and that she can't go taking her life or anything else. There are no words to express how I feel when something like this happens. It's always one of my nightmares, is waking up in the morning or whatever else, and seeing that something's gone wrong. Sorry, it's a phone call or someone I can phone back after this low urgent one. But this is where we're all at. Many of us have been in that position. Many of us have thought it, felt it sometimes, felt like there is no way to get rid of this pain. And there are many of you out there, many of you out there at some time or another have thought of this. There are many of you out there that have actually, some of you have even tried this, and some of you have spent the time to deal with and help along the way. I reach out to everybody here because, it's something like this that really cheeses me off when I share things like this to try and help people, to try and stop this that happens. That when people find it, I don't know, that they report it or something like that, because it's all we want to try and do is stop the statistics rising from family courts, the tyranny, the barbaric way that it treats human beings behind them family court doors. And they're all guilty of it, every single one of them, from the schools right up. The schools may be rejecting our parent. That's all that parent feels is rejection. All that parent wants is their children in their life, and all they met with is rejection. I'm going to have to ask ourselves, because many of us have been there. It is sometimes with some of these people here that are very vulnerable, especially the vulnerable ones, it's only a flick of a coin from actually coming back from it or doing it. I've spoken to many who have been in horrendous ways, and I've shed some tears with these people as well. And some of them I've got to know really, really well, and found them to be more than just members on here. I have opened my house up to some of these people. I've gone out of the way to spend my time. All the time. I have all the time in the world for these people to help them. It's absolutely, Cody. We all know there are so many. I can pinpoint through other groups that I see things on there, and these people need support. That's what they need, and there isn't any out there. Hiya, Stuart. Good luck tomorrow, mate. My old son. I hope everything goes right. Don't forget my picture. Happy days. I fought a long, hard battle like many of you, and I still fight that battle for all of you. This month, I'm 55 years old. I'm 55. I don't think it's, I shouldn't be at the position when I should be breaking my I know I'm going to phone you back now, Hannah. I just noticed your message. Don't worry, I'm going to phone you back now. It's heartbreaking, and the message needs to get out there loud and clear that they all are playing a part in the suicidal tendencies, the suicidal effects that these human beings are having. It's just unreal, and it's something that needs to be impacted out there, not hidden away. And because of family court doors in general, we all know the script and we all know what's happening. We're working damned hard to try and get as many people and trying to get involved with as many things as we possibly can to help to change things, to reform things. But we are looking at a system that has been stuck in this way for decades. We're looking at a system that doesn't really want to shift because it has to work. We got to go out and we got to research this, or we got to go and check this. Are you serious? We don't need to do that. We can do it just by copy and pasting off something else. This is where we need to take control of all of this. We need to encourage these people to take notice of what is going on. Thank you very much, Stuart. Definitely. Well happy with a bit of birthday cake as well. I'll come down and have a cup of coffee with you as well when your contact's over as well, mate. I would love to meet them someday, but obviously get your contact back in place. Amazing result the other day, brilliant. I think we've done well. But that's what we need more of. We don't need to be seeing these posts. There are many people join this group every single day of the week. There are people that join. There are some that leave. There are some that join. It's not a case of people may not like the way that we go around things, but I'm a parent, I'm a dad, I'm not someone that's going to go dangling off buildings or whatever else. I am certainly not one that's going to get people to go and do anything stupid that can start to carry on or reflect on the tit-for-tat stuff that you have through family courts. Your focus should be on your children, not your ex-partner or anything else. That is what the courts look for in these courts, where the focus is. If you want to spend your time arguing with your ex in family courts, then expect a long haul. I can assure you. Expect Kafkas involved in your case. Expect there to be a 16.4 guardian lawyer appointed to your case. These are the things that you can expect in your case. I can assure you. That is not maybe, that is factual things that will happen in your case. And that is because of their conflict. We think that there's conflict in family. Of course there is. There's one parent that's actually on a system that is raising the conflict onto one targeted parent. It's more bullying, I would call it. It's more terrorizing, because many of you are forced to jump the hoops. And if you don't jump the hoops, then what happens? You don't get to see your children. And that's what they say. Since when has the actual law had anything to do with you seeing your children? If there's no reason for you not to see your children, then why aren't your children in your life? I can tell you something now. 7th of January 2016, going back that far, 2016, when my ex actually demanded the first time into a contact centre for 1 hour a week. My ex demanded in a contact centre for 1 hour a week. I was allowed to see my child for 1 hour a week. The social worker was involved in the case was not there, not available. So she was picked up on the phone and she was contacted by phone. When asked by the social worker's outcome was positively, undoubtedly, there is no concerns with the father. There is no reason for a father to not have overnights. The father can meet all the child's needs. At that point, only social services were involved in the case. So what is that telling you? There is no concerns. There is no nothing. They all became about after. A lot of them because I'm doing this and they didn't like it. They still don't. When are we going to turn around and put the spines back in our bodies and turn around and say, hang on a minute, these are our kids. Stop threatening us with them. Stop bullying us with them. You know, they're no more guilty of harassing you and causing you stress and distress than anybody else, than your exes. Absolutely. This is where we all are. We all have to be there for our children. And we can't be there for our children if we are segregated. There are a lot of reasons for you being segregated from your children. And a lot of them to do with your exes. Some we know they get more money. Some we know they want the control. Some we know they want to erase you out of the child's life. There are so many reasons. We know all the reasons why they do it. We know all the problems that there are. But we have the problem of getting people to listen. And that is what we're focusing on this year. This is what the time we are focusing on. People listening. We have given Anthony Douglas a chance. We've written to Anthony Douglas. We had a response back. Private and confidential. We have contacted the Minister of Justice. We have contacted everybody. They don't seem to, unless it suits them the way that they want to do it, then it's not going to bother them. They don't have interest in it. There needs a radical change in this system. It needs to be taken down to the foundation and restructured to give these children a future, to give them the best future that these children can have. The children. That is the importance of all of this, the children. You're all out there fighting for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews. You're all out there fighting because that's who they have fighting for them. You. How dare the courts turn around and tell you you can't go back to court for 2 years? How dare them turn around and write court orders that are not worth the paper they're written on? How dare them put your children beneath a TV license? And that's the point that we have to be getting out there. If your ex is living on her own, a single mum or whatever else, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. If she didn't pay her TV license or take the kid to school, then she'll run the risk of prison. If she ignores all that, she will go to prison. Yet in family courts, it's all different. See, don't worry about it. Carry on. Write it out again. We'll write it out again. And we'll write it out again. And you keep breaking it. Many of you know how many times your exes have broken court orders. There needs to be accountability. The moment that the accountability is in the family courts, that is the moment that they can begin to start to change. There is still a long way to go. And many of us may not see that change in the next year, may not see it in the next 2 years, but as long as we keep bringing it for every single child, the ones that's behind, the ones that's following up, all these kids that's following up, you know what your children are going through. Early hours this morning, heartbreaking for me, a partner wanting to take her life because she lost her partner, her love, someone who she was there for. But sometimes we don't see that. All we have our focus on is our children. And then the moment that anything falls down, there's always times that things come around and kick you in the teeth. Sometimes you may feel you've moved a step forward to then go into the next court case and you've moved 10 steps back. It's always something that keeps slapping you across the face every time. Until that point where they may just start to give you little bits of contact and try to build it. If you get there, there needs to be some fundamental changes, and this needs to stop. If not only for the parents to take their lives now, but for the children's lives that could be lost in the future because of this. Because potentially that's what could happen. That's what could actually happen to your children in years to come going through this. 2 years, 7 years, 3 years, 5 years, 16 months, 2 months, 3 months. All these are numbers that roll out on you constantly. 10 years, 15 years, 30 years. It's a disease that needs to be stamped out. And remember, someone said to me a while ago, oh, you shouldn't be putting that out. Stamp out PA. Stamp it out. Shouldn't be putting that out. You should be bringing the awareness on PA. Bringing the awareness, saying stamp it out. Is awareness enough? Stop it. It's child abuse. You wouldn't turn around and say, oh, let's talk about sexual predators and how we can deal with that. And you'd want to stamp it out. I don't have to imagine it, James. This is my second time into this. I was in this a long time ago when it was totally different. In them days, you would get done for abducting your child or kidnapping your child, even if you picked them up. The child was with the mother, end of story. You pick the child up, boom. You'd have the police knocking on your door and arresting you. That's fact. Times have changed. And times have changed in some respects with some of the parents in a good way. In some respects, it's become, the family courts has become a free-for-all in some cases where it's first come, first served. Who kidnaps the child first? Who makes the allegations first? You know, we're fully aware that Women's Aid are plugging this out and even blanketing, putting that umbrella over some of these people that there's nothing happened to. There's false allegations. We know this. And unfortunately, some of these other ones like F&F and even Fathers for Justice are doing the same thing. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to push the things out there. This is not the way. To stop something, you have to stop it, not pass it back and forth. I'm a father, I'm a dad, and I'm proud to fight for any woman that's going through this as well. Any grandmother that's going through this. Any family. But what we've heard all the way along the line is fathers, fathers, fathers. It's families, families, families. It's not just the father that's kept away, it's the grandparents. It's not just the fathers that's kept away, it's granddads, grandmothers, aunties, uncles, siblings. The whole lot are kept away from this. And they have changed. Unfortunately, a lot of people may not think this, but yes, they have. 2 years ago, two years ago, you couldn't even mention the words parental alienation in the courts. I can tell you that 3 years ago, in my paperwork, that was in there. Even indoctrination, even denigration. And yes, there are things changing because there are members of parliament that are dealing with this and doing their best. It's not enough, but at least people are. And this is why there is more awareness getting out there. But hey, you can all do something as well. Instead of us sitting there and doing nothing, we can share the things that matter. We can share the things that people believe in and people want. You know, I don't like to break my heart. I was writing that this morning when I wrote that post this morning, and I had tears rolling down my face this morning thinking of that woman, that young woman who'd lost her partner and who felt like she couldn't go on anymore. And it's not just the partner as well, it's any other family members, them children. What are them children going to be told when they grow up? There is a time that I'm in this, sometimes I feel very emotional into this, and sometimes I feel very annoyed and stepping out of the emotion of this. That's one of the places where I'm at the moment, because there is not enough done. There is not enough done for all the children, and that is because they bully and they segregate you by forcing you, by telling you. We already know, CASCAF, they're out there, they have no doubt they watch, but CASCAF, oi, what right do you have to tell people that they can't go and get support? But then again, what right do you have to tell them that they can't go and get support from dads or any other group when you're quite happy for them to have support with Women's Aid, who stick that umbrella over a lot of these? There's a nice question for them to answer with their child impact analysis framework that's full of crap. And it's not just CASCAF, it's social services. It's all one big mess. And they don't know how to deal with it. And it's one big mess in America, and they don't know how to deal with it. Because they're all got to watch that they don't upset apple carts. You know, it's hard to believe that going back 3 years ago, there was 17.2% women going through this. Now there's nearly 40% women going through this. And that is because the courts have become the free-for-all. Who can kidnap the kids first and lay the blame on the other one and put the allegations in or whatever else. Absolutely they have right, Kath. Bloody goddamn right they have. And they should execute them as well. It's unbelievable. And we get right back to sometimes it's always about the scoops of ice cream. They don't want to give you anything because it might take something from the other grandparent, or it might take the time off them. That shouldn't be the case at all. Focus should be on the children. They want their parents in their life. They want that missing family in their life. And I've seen the colossal damage that it causes later on in life. I have seen it with my own eyes. Absolutely, I've seen it. And I have seen the narcissistic tendencies from a child that was A normal child, when I was living at that house, and I have seen the narcissistic and the perpetrating and the preying, and the mantis side of it, the praying mantis that would bite off someone's head as well and chew the spine out of them. And that's not the way children should be brought up, and that's not the way they should have to deal with their life. It has to stop. And the only way to stop it is, you know, we got the government that will sit on the fence on this for the rest of their life. I've had the response from the Minister of Justice. We will respond back with them as well. So at least we got a dialogue there. Absolutely. No matter what, they use the kids for money, they use the kids for leverage, they use the kids for every goddamn thing. And the worst part about it, when they can't use the kids for the allegations because you may not be in any contact with your ex, that is when they start using the children's emotionals or the children's well-being. This is when you start getting wet in the bed, nightmares, night terrors, walking in their sleep, eating disorders, all sorts of things, upset from contact, all these kind of things. You can write the book on them, honestly. Honest to God, I can write the book on them. And all this is just to target a targeted parent for whatever gain they want. Gets to a stage in life when we have to turn around and say, they are abusing our children and we need to change residency. I was in care myself, and I know what it felt like not having contact with either parent really, but certainly not my father anyway. I mean, I found out my father had died, and the funeral was done and dusted about 6 months after he died, so I didn't even get to go to my father's funeral. I didn't even know my father was dead. And I found out probably one of the worst ways possible, and I phoned my mother to tell her I'm getting engaged, and I get, when did you go to your father's funeral? I didn't even know he was dead. But there we are. Life brought me around, yeah, I'm absolutely certain of it. It brought me to this point in my life. I'm 55 years old. This month I am 55 years old, and I am still putting my feet on the ground for all your kids, and I will still carry on putting my feet on the ground for all you kids. I made the vow. I will stand by the vow. I will never, ever, ever break that vow. There is no way anyone in this world will get me to break that vow. I will stand up for your kids every day of the week. And that's a promise. I gotta go. Thank you all.